the 9th of April, 1940. Under the code name Operation Weserübung, Nazi Germany invades Denmark and Norway. Strategically, Denmark's importance to Germany is as a staging area for operations in Norway. In Norway, Germany seeks to secure naval bases for use against the British fleet in the North Sea and to guarantee vital iron ore shipments from neutral Sweden, on which Nazi Germany is dependent. While the invasion of Denmark lasts less than 6 hours and is the shortest military campaign conducted by the Germans during the war, Norway surrenders to Germany only after 2 months, on the 10th of June, 1940. During the German occupation of Norway, the SS and police forces play a key role in maintaining control and terrorizing the local population. Their most powerful man is a German SS officer who will become notorious for overseeing the deportation of Norwegian Jews, the execution of resistance fighters, and the widespread use of fear and repression. His name is Wilhelm Rediess. Friedrich Wilhelm Otto Rediess was born on the 10th of October 1900 in the city of Heinsberg, then part of the German Empire. Rediess was the son of a court employee, and after school and vocational training, he became an electrical engineer. The First World War began on the 28th of July 1914. In June 1918, the 17-year-old Rediess enlisted in the German army and served as an infantryman until the war ended on the 11th of November 1918. He then returned to work as an electrician until he lost his job years later during the Great Depression, which began in the United States in 1929. This severe global economic downturn had far-reaching effects around the globe, especially in Europe. In May 1925, Rediess became a member of the Nazi paramilitary organization, the SA, and in December of the same year, he became a member of the Nazi Party. 4 years later, in 1929, he joined the SS. On the 30th of January 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany by President Paul von Hindenburg. 6 years later, on the 1st of September 1939, the Second World War started when Nazi Germany invaded Poland. From June 1938 to June 1940, Wilhelm Rediess served as higher SS and police leader in East Prussia, reporting directly to Gauleiter Erich Koch. In this powerful role, Rediess oversaw all SS and police affairs in the region, including the enforcement of Nazi policies and coordination with nearby killing operations. He was responsible for implementing the Nuremberg race laws in East Prussia, overseeing the persecution and deportation of Jews and other individuals the regime deemed undesirable. In the spring of 1940, Rediess became directly involved in the systematic murder of psychiatric patients labeled mentally unfit by the Nazi regime. Between the 21st of May and the 8th of June, a total of 1,558 individuals were killed at the Soldau concentration camp, a facility used by the SS for detention, transit, and extermination, located in German-occupied Poland. The operation was carried out in coordination with SS Commander Wilhelm Kopper and East Prussian Gauleiter Erich Koch. It was based on an agreement that allowed the SS to use an empty hospital in exchange for eliminating the patients. After learning about earlier mass murders conducted by a mobile killing unit in the Nazi-administered region of Vaterland, located in German-occupied Poland, Rediess requested that the same unit, led by SS officer Herbert Lang, be deployed for this task. At Soldau concentration camp, victims were loaded into a sealed gas van in groups of 40. Carbon monoxide was pumped into the compartment, killing them over several hours. Prisoners from the camp were forced to dig the mass graves and were then executed and buried alongside the victims. Gauleiter Koch personally inspected one of the mass graves. Otto Rasch, who oversaw the operation at Soldau, paid Lange 2,000 Reichsmarks upon arrival to cover the cost of the killings, while Rediess was supposed to pay 10 Reichsmarks for each Jew killed, roughly $90 in today's money. However, Rediess refused to pay, claiming that the operation had served the interests of the entire Reich, not just East Prussia. His successor also delayed the payment, prompting a trail of invoices and internal complaints across Nazi offices. In a letter to the main office of Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, Rediess admitted to ordering the killings, but referred to them only as evacuations, a disturbing example of how Nazi officials concealed mass murder through bureaucratic language and euphemism. At the start of the Second World War in 1939, Norway, like all of Scandinavia, gained new strategic importance for Germany. Erich Raeder, the head of the German Navy from 1939 to 1943, was concerned about maintaining German naval access to the North Sea and the Atlantic Ocean via bases along the Norwegian coastline. In December 1939, first Raeder, then Hitler, met with Vidkun Quisling, the leader of the Norwegian fascists, who warned that the British were planning to move into Norway for their own strategic purposes. Alarmed by this possibility, Germany began preparing Operation Weserübung, the planned invasion of both Denmark and Norway. The German invasion, led by General Nikolaus von Falkenhorst, began on the 9th of April 1940, and 2 months later, on the 10th of June the same year, Norway officially fell under German control. Following the occupation of Norway, Wilhelm Rediess arrived in Oslo to take over the position of HRS and police leader in June 1940, shortly after his predecessor Fritz Weitzel was killed during an air raid in Düsseldorf. Over the next 5 years, Rediess would become one of the most powerful men in occupied Norway, responsible for overseeing all SS and police forces in the country. In March 1941, reports surfaced that many Norwegian women had become pregnant by German soldiers, prompting Rediess to implement the Labensborn program in Norway. Between 10,000 and 12,000 children with a Norwegian mother and a German father, usually linked to SS units, were born in Norway during the Second World War under the Lebensborn, meaning fountain of life. This program encouraged the birth of children deemed racially valuable in order to increase Germany's Aryan population. In April 1941, Rediess was promoted to Generalleutnant of the police, and by November that same year, he held the rank of SS Obergruppenführer, the equivalent of a lieutenant general in the US Army. His authority extended over the uniformed police, the security police, and Waffen-SS units stationed in Norway. The Waffen-SS was the military branch of the SS. Some of these units were later transferred to Finland to take part in the German invasion of the Soviet Union. Rediess was in charge of both discipline and ideological training for the forces under his command. He directed German and Norwegian police units during major raids and security operations, and demanded strict obedience and order from his men. Like other senior SS leaders, he had his own SS and police court, initially intended for internal disciplinary matters. After a state of emergency was declared in Oslo in September 1941, Rediess pushed for this court to be given jurisdiction over Norwegian resistance members. With Himmler's backing, he succeeded, though final pardoning authority in such cases was granted to Reichskommissar Josef Terboven. Despite the extent of his authority, Rediess was not widely respected by others within the Nazi leadership in Norway. Rolf Fuglesang, a minister in Quisling's fascist government, described him as stupid, while General Nikolaus von Falkenhorst called him a weak personality who blindly followed Terboven's lead. Still, Rediess was far from passive, as he strongly supported the repression of resistance activity in Norway. Because he did not hesitate to impose harsh punishments, including the death penalty, even on Germans under his command, Wilhelm Rediess was hated even by his own men. During his reign of terror, Rediess was deeply involved in the persecution of Norway's Jewish population. As the country's highest SS and police authority, he worked closely with Nazi officials to organize the mass arrests, deportations, and confiscation of Jewish property, ensuring that anti-Jewish policies were implemented swiftly and efficiently. He played a central role in implementing the Holocaust in the country, and his actions resulted in the murder of more than 700 Jews and the brutal mistreatment of many more. There were approximately 2,100 Jews in Norway at the time of the German invasion. Among them were about 350 German and Austrian refugees who had sought haven from Nazi Germany. After numerous cases of harassment and violence against individuals, orders were issued to Norwegian police authorities on the 24th and 25th of October 1942 to arrest all Jewish men over the age of 15 and confiscate all their property. A month later, Nazi officials working with Quisling's National Samlin began arresting women and children as well. Acting on plans that had been previously developed, the Norwegian police arrested Jews throughout the country and brought them to Oslo for deportation to Germany. The first deportation of 532 Jews left Oslo on the 26th of November 1942. Another 158 were deported on the 25th of February 1943, followed by transfers of smaller groups. In all, 772 Norwegian Jewish men, women and children were deported from the Norwegian capital to Germany. From Oslo, Norwegian Jews were sent by ship to the German port city of Stettin, today's Szczecin in Poland. They were then transferred by train to Auschwitz, where most were gassed immediately upon arrival. Only 34 of them survived the war, all of them men. Fortunately, many Jews received advance warnings of the roundups from Norwegian policemen and members of the underground. As a result, around 1,000 of Norway's Jews managed to escape to neutral Sweden with the aid of the underground, while many others went into hiding. By early 1945, it was clear that Germany would lose the war. In his final months in Norway, Rediess became increasingly withdrawn and depressed. According to one of his staff members, he worried constantly about the fate of his wife and 5 children in Germany, and later said that it was probably best for them if he never returned. When, on the 8th of May 1945, the day of Germany's unconditional surrender, Wilhelm Rediess committed suicide, he was 44 years old. Rediess shot himself following a drinking party with Reichskommissar Josef Terboven at the Nazi headquarters near Oslo. Soon after, Terboven committed suicide as well. Thanks for watching the World History Channel. Be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.